Garp is the true leader of the Revolutionary Army, and Dragon is his appointed leader so he can keep his cover within the Marines. Now, I know how crazy that sounds, guys. I know how crazy it sounds right off the bat, but trust me, stick with me to the end of this video and it will all make sense in the end. And by the end of this video, you'll be thinking the exact same thing. So, what drove me to make such a bold claim? Well, let's get into the video. And if you do get enjoyment out of today's video, then consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It helps me go a long way in making these videos for you guys. I believe that not Dragon, but both Garp and Dragon started the Revolutionary Army together on the initial idea coming from Garp. And they decided that in order for this organization to function as effectively as possible, they would need both a man on the outside and on the inside. And so Garp came up with the idea of staying in the Marines as the inside man, and Dragon being the leader and the public figure of this organization. So Dragon actively started the Revolutionary Army and took fame, and Garp stayed within the Marines, keeping tabs on the inside and perhaps having some other inside soldiers, recruiting other inside soldiers with good hearts from the Marines as well. I mean, if you think about every good soldier in the Marines that we've seen in the story, we've seen almost every single one of them attempt to make a change from within the system. From Fujitora to Smoker to Kobe, all of them. Upon Fujitora's initial introduction, we find out that he is a blind man, and we find out that he blinded himself due to the cruelty of the world and how he no longer wanted to see how cruel the world really was. And so Fujitora already has this disgust for how the world works. And upon joining the Marines, we see how he feels about the warlord system, where in Dressrosa he sees the acts of tyranny and countless of other crimes being committed by Doflamingo to his face, in front of his face, a bit low-key but right in front of his face, and he sees how Doflamingo is able to get away with this. Not only get away with this, but he is able to due to the protection of the world government. We also see the Celestial Dragons are able to do the same thing and commit countless acts of crimes and get away with it due to the protection of the world government. And Fujitora notices the complete injustice and hypocrisy in this from the world government and attempts to make a change, and actually does so in directly being the cause and the reason for the abolishment of the warlord system. And the same can be said for Smoker, where Smoker also saw the injustices of the Marines in the exact same way earlier on in Alabasta, and rather than Doflamingo, it was Crocodile, where he was able to witness all of the crimes that Crocodile was committing on the people of Alabasta, and the fact that he was able to get away with it solely on his warlord status. And Smoker also despised this idea. However, at the time, he was only a captain and not an admiral, and so he couldn't really have the influence from within that Fujitora could have. Not only this, but we also see how Smoker reacts to the Marines censoring the fact that Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates actually saved the people of Alabasta, and actually stole that credit and put it in the papers that they were the ones, and they alone were the ones, to save the people of Alabasta and capture Crocodile. And we see that Smoker isn't too happy in hearing this news. He doesn't take this too kindly, and he almost rejects or resents the idea that he got a promotion from Alabasta to now be a Commodore. And we see that he is not really like the rest of the Navy soldiers early on. We see that he has a good heart and really wants change and wants the right kind of change. And of course, at Marineford, upon the victory of the Marines, they continue with their bloodlusted mindset to continue to kill as many pirates as possible. And we see that Smoker again says something is not right here with both sides, meaning including the Marines. So Smoker has always had the mindset that the Marines are corrupt from within. However, he is simply too low of a rank to really do anything about it. But even then, we see him helping Fujitora in abolishing the warlord system. So he also is actively doing whatever he can to try and make the Marines better from within. And Kobe went through the same process as Smoker in Marineford, except to a much more severe degree, where he sees the bloodlust from the Marines and he actively has to be the one to stand in the way and try and stop them. And what is he met with there? He is met with a man that he is supposed to look up to, an admiral of the organization that he has always wanted to be in his entire life, a man currently holding the title of admiral, which is the position that he has always strived to be. And this man actively tries to kill him right in front of his face for simply speaking the truth and wanting true justice. And if anything, the Marines only showed their true colors to a character like Kobe back in Marineford. And now that same man that almost killed Kobe is the fleet admiral and is the leader and in charge of the entire organization. And I'm sure Kobe doesn't feel too well about that, even if it's not from a personal standpoint, just from the fact that he knows Akainu's mindset and what he is capable of doing in the name of justice. And we see that Kobe as well is actively trying to make a change by being a part of Sword. With all these men, the common occurrence here is we see the realization of the injustices of the Marines and how they took their own separate actions to try and make a change. Yet the man who has undoubtedly seen the most injustices within the world government, the man who has been there the longest, the man who is labeled the hero, has not. So if you guys are liking the video so far, why not go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated and helps me go a long way in making these videos. So please subscribe. There is no way a character as good-hearted as Garp has sat down and watched these injustices over and over and over again from the Marines throughout the countless of decades that he's been with them and has never actively tried to change anything. I find that almost impossible to believe. They executed Ace, his adopted grandson, right in front of him for being the son of Roger and nothing more. And we see Garp cry because of this. We see him experience heartbreak and loss. The hero of the Marines on the floor crying in front of every single Marine soldier there at Marineford. We see him experience what it's like to be helpless when watching someone you love die right in front of you because the world is a cruel place and nothing more. And Garp was there when they made the orders to kill Roger's entire bloodline simply for being Roger's bloodline. And Garp also knows that they wanted to kill Ace prior to his birth simply for being the son of Roger. And surely Garp knew there was a problem with this, and that's why he decided to take Ace for himself, along of course with Roger telling him to make that promise to him. However, Garp would never really do this unless he thought it was the right thing to do. So we know how Garp felt about this since he hid Ace and led him to live the best life he possibly could. And even though Garp wants Ace to become a Navy soldier, we see that upon discovering that Ace has set out and become a pirate like he always wanted to be, Garp still loves Ace unconditionally. He still loves him as family and still wants the best life for him. And it doesn't seem like Garp sees Luffy and Ace as evil people or people committing evil acts, but more so the idea of him constantly insisting on Ace and Luffy becoming Marine soldiers seems to me that it stems from the fact that the world and the way the world is structured does not work out for pirates. Even if you're not stealing and you're not killing and you're not committing any crimes and you're simply wanting to go out there and be free and explore, the world government sets out to eliminate every pirate. And he just wanted, at the end of the day, Garp just wanted to protect the ones he loved. Garp also experienced God Valley and how bad Rox wanted to destroy the world. I personally believe this was because Rox knew the truth about the world and Roger and Garp himself did not at the time. But eventually, Garp and Roger both grew to learn more later in life, and they then realized that the one man who knew everything and wanted to make the biggest change was wiped out instantly, and his name was removed from history. Personally, I don't think Garp feels too good about what he was forced to do at God Valley, knowing what he knows now. This would also give Garp a broader perspective and better understanding on how cruel the world can really be. So if Garp is well aware of how cruel the world is, I just can't imagine he wouldn't want to do anything about it this entire time. Not to mention, whether you believe Dragon is the son of Garp or the son-in-law of Garp, there is without a doubt a connection there, and obviously both those men have some kind of connection, some kind of ties. And with Dragon being the leader of the Revolutionary Army and Garp being silent this entire time from within the Marines, to me this just smells like Garp is truly behind the Revolutionary Army. Not to mention, just a little fun fact here, but the first time that we hear Dragon's name and the first time that we hear mention of the Revolutionary Army is the scene where Garp is properly and officially introduced as Monkey D. Garp, the grandfather of Luffy. And in this scene, Garp is talking to Luffy about his father, and he tells Luffy that Dragon is his father and Dragon is a revolutionary. And he seems to just ramble on and on about information that he knows in a way that just surprises everybody. And at the end, he kind of just looks around at everyone with picking his nose and is like, oh, I guess I said too much. Just forget I said it. And this is obviously a comedic scene here, but Oda is really good at foreshadowing. And this makes me think that there is a lot more that Garp really could have said about Dragon and the Revolutionary Army, and that he is actually the leader or the co-leader of the Revolutionary Army with Dragon, but from the inside of the Marines. However, Garp is smart at the end of the day, and he knows how much to say and how much not to say. If this theory does come true, then that scene hundreds and hundreds of chapters ago will be a fantastic foreshadowing scene, showing us how much Garp really could have told us if he wanted to. One thing we always see in One Piece is whenever someone wants to make a change to a group or an organization, whether it's to boost them up or bring them down, that change must always come from within. We see this with Corazon infiltrating the Doflamingo family, Virgo infiltrating the Marines, Denjiro infiltrating Orochi's army, Kanjuro infiltrating Oden's scabbard, and of course, possibly and speculated but definitely not confirmed, Kuzan infiltrating the Blackbeard pirates. And with all of these characters, the one thing that's true to all is we've seen them infiltrate and spend years and years from within in order to actively make that change that they needed so desperately. And I think this stands tall for Garp or anyone else as well. The Revolutionary Army is a very smart group. Monkey D. Dragon is perhaps one of the biggest strategists in the entire series. And if you're making sure you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's on every other possible circumstance, then I find it hard to believe that you would do all these other things right, but would forget to send someone to infiltrate the organization that you dedicate your entire life to taking down. And maybe that's because they don't need to send someone to infiltrate, because from the very beginning of the Revolutionary Army, they already had their leader inside this entire time, in Monkey D. Garp. And this is why I believe that Garp is either the leader or co-leader along with Dragon of the Revolutionary Army. So comment down below what you guys think and whether or not you bought into this theory. Also, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button, share the video, help my channel grow as always, guys. And if you guys enjoyed the video, then go ahead and check out this theory video on why Rox was a hero. So I'll see you guys over there. Thanks for watching. Nature Boy out.